When glossing over photographs from the Second World War, it can become incredibly easy to feel deep sorrow. The solemn faces of victims, when compared to the oft-jubilant and lively Nazi regime, creates a haunting juxtaposition that has transcended generations. This video highlights two groups of faces: the victims and those who systematically exterminated them. This first photograph from October 1945 shows Abraham Warsaw with a name card intended to help any of his surviving family members locate him at the Kloster Inzeldorf camp. This photograph was published in newspapers to facilitate reuniting of the family. What struck me most about this photo is the look of apparent determination on this boy's face. Unfortunately, there is a distinct possibility that this boy's family is dead. But after all, this is a face of a survivor. The blank white backdrop, paired with Warsaw holding the sign, represents the blank canvas survivors experienced in the direct aftermath of the war. The second photo is from March 1946. Dr. Edward Krebsbach, a defendant of the trial of the 61 former camp personnel and prisoners from Mauthausen, stands in his place at the defendant's dock. 61 former camp personnel and prisoners from Mauthausen were brought to trial in front of an American military tribunal in Dachau, Germany. All of the defendants were charged with violation of the laws and usages of war, and specifically with subjecting non-Germans to killing, beating, torture, and starvation. Krebsbach was an ex-SS concentration camp physician who initiated the mass execution of ill and unfit prisoners by heart injections. The perpetrators surrounding the doctor are all looking down, as if to signify their guilt and sorrow for their actions. Should I have walked by Krebsbach on the street, I would have never known the atrocities he committed. This thought can be directly tied to Shoah, the film we watched last semester in the Third Reich in literature, the former Nazi pouring beer at the restaurant after the war. What I wonder while gazing at this photo is whether or not the sorrow shown in the frame is real, or if it was a performance with the hope of receiving a smaller jail sentence, or to avoid death. This third photo, which was taken in an unknown month in 1940, depicts an elderly religious Jew in an unidentified ghetto in Poland doffing his hat to a German soldier. Although quite blurry in nature, this photo depicts the haunting face of a man who has lived a full life, not only for that life to end in the hands of the Nazi regime. All Jewish people, but the elderly especially, were subservient to the German superiors. Older Jews were disproportionately murdered because they were deemed unnecessary. The sullen expression on the man's face denotes the fear experienced by an entire people. This fourth photo is from April 1945. The new caretaker of Buchenwald concentration camp displays a noose and club used by the SS to murder prisoners. He was appointed by the Third Army officers in the military government. The apparent proudness on his caretaker's face is haunting, especially considering the weapons of death he so nonchalantly brandishes. This showcases the many ironic, for lack of a better word, titles given to many within the Nazi regime. Titles such as caregiver were given to falsely convince the Jewish people of safety, but also as a cruel Nazi joke. The stark background in this photo is also quite troubling. Was this the spot where so many were killed? Was this taken in the direct aftermath of a killing? Although we don't have answers to these questions, the Nazis perpetrated these crimes with such horrifying ease. This photo from May 1945 shows Dr. Robert Ley, the former leader of the German Labor Front, or the DAF, following his arrest by the American troops with the 101st U.S. Airborne Division at his mountain home near the Austrian border. At the time of his capture, Ley was posing as Dr. Ernst Ditzelmeier, but was identified by Franz Xavier Schwarz, the former treasurer of the Nazi Party and one of Ley's oldest enemies. With his arms crossed, Ley knows his time to answer for his crimes has come. Today, this would be referred to in the legal world as the perp walk, or the photo taken once an alleged criminal is apprehended. Ley, like so many other Nazis, were living under assumed and false names after the war in an effort to escape prosecution. This final photo from January 1944 shows a woman who has just arrived at Theresienstadt with a transport of Dutch Jews, waiting to receive her bowl of food in the courtyard of the ghetto. By looking at this woman's face, you can tell she is merely trying to process the implications of being a Nazi detainee. With her tattered clothes and Jewish identification star, she has been processed by the Nazi machine. The unfortunate reality of her position as an older woman means that, unless she possesses some sort of skill or has knowledge of craft, She will be deemed an unnecessary by the Nazis and will most likely be put to death. Thank you for watching.